Jake and Ben, 97.5. The KSL Sports Zone. Jake Scott, Ben Anderson. Ben, I'm chatty. It's one of my many flaws. I chat too much. How are you? What's going on? We're out on location. We're excited to be here. We're in Linden.
Yeah, we are.
We're at the brand new Doug Smith Kia location. It is just east of the freeway. Get off at the 1600 North exit in Linden.
273. That's the exit.
Right by the Timpanogos Harley-Davidson, which is a cool building.
Yeah.
And then just head east on the other side of the freeway, and it's right there. Take a left. It's easy to find.
As Hatch told us, right next to the Home Depot. So if you know the Home Depot in Linden, just east of the freeway, we are right next door. You can't miss us.
This is a great building.
This is awesome.
Part of what I was chatting about was, these new buildings that they build for dealerships, and this is a beautiful one, are good-looking buildings. Cool, easy to be in.
Well, you have these good-looking cars. You need to have a good-looking building to house them.
A sea of Kias, if you will.
Yeah. Come on down, check them out. I've loved my Kia Sorento that I had for a long time. The old mom got a second one as well. Hatch has one. Everyone's happy with it.
And I got to tell you, we've had a relationship station-wise with Doug Smith, the good folks, for I think as long as I've been on the station, which is a really, really long time. They are very good folks. They are really easy to deal with, and they're super into customer service. So we're excited to be here and congratulate them on their beautiful new location. And by the way, I was talking to Clark over there.
Yep.
They're going to be blowing it out all day. They're going to have food and catering, and they're super excited about this dealership, and they want to get the word out, and that means good stuff for you if you're in the neighborhood.
I think the official ribbon cutting is at 11:30, but they are open.
Yeah, you can come in. You can come see Ben.
Come say hi. Come say hi to Jake.
I laughed. I don't know why I had this random memory today, driving down to Utah County. But we used to have this bit with Alema where he called it the bubble. Utah County is the bubble. And in order to get in, you had to say the password.
Uh-huh.
And do you want to take a guess what the password was?
What was it?
1984.
Oh, okay. Seeing a lot of 84 talk around right now.
But Alema was technically on that team.
Yeah,
so,
I get it.
Yeah, he's a funny guy.
I talked to him yesterday at jazz practice.
Did you?
Yeah, weirdly, despite how close Alema is, one to the station and two to the Utah Jazz, I haven't talked to Alema a whole lot in my life. But he was at practice, and it was kind of a slow practice for the Jazz, kind of a long practice. So a lot of us were sitting in the media room and got chatting about Utah and BYU. And, of course, Alema was there, and who better to talk about than what he's seen so far from these teams.
Alema is hilarious.
Yeah, he is.
And he comes off as a funny guy on TV, so that probably doesn't surprise many people, but Alema is hilarious. And his twin brother, Tao, looks just like him. Identical twin. In fact, to the point, this is a funny story. My parents stopped Tao in the airport once because she knew I had a relationship with Alema. And they were like, hey, Alema, I'm Jake's parents. And Tao was like, well, I also know Jake, but yeah.
That's why you better have a good sense of humor if you're an identical twin. So it's not surprising Alema's funny. You get that a lot in your life.
Yeah, you do.
So you better be willing to adjust to that.
My wife has sisters who are identical twins.
Oh.
And you know what's funny? And I have a few identical twins that grew up with or whatever. I think they look nothing alike.
Your sisters-in-law.
Right. But you get to know people. Like my friends Dustin and Jason are identical twins, and I think they look nothing alike. But if you first meet them, there's obvious confusion. But it's funny how that works. Like somehow personality, I guess, affects
aura,
appearance.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like my young children had a tough time telling the two apart when they're little. You know what I mean? And Maggie kind of still does. But to me, knowing them for as long as I have, look nothing alike. Interesting stuff. Nobody cares. We are down here. Just mention the password.
1984.
And you can get into the bubble and get down here to
where does
to
the bubble
Doug Smith
start?
Kia.
Like point of the mountain?
Yeah, it's where Utah County starts.
Well, I don't know where that is.
Yeah, Point of the Mountain.
Is that where it is?
You really don't know?
Well, I don't know. I don't know. There's no line that says "Welcome to Utah County." Is there?
There's a sign.
Is there
that
a
says
sign?
Utah yeah, for every county there's a
I
sign.
don't
There
know
used
where it
to
is.
be a billboard over there when Utah first entered the Pac-12 that said you're entering Pac-12 country if you're driving north.
But it's gone now.
It's gone now. So
The whole state is Pac-12 or Big
it's
12.
now Big
country.
12 country, yeah.
Yeah.
And when BYU entered the Big 12 for a short time, there was a billboard when you drove south that also said, "Hey, welcome to Big 12 country."
I only ever come this far south when I'm going to the prison to visit my family members, and now it's gone.
That's not in Utah County. That's still in Salt Lake County.
That's
Point
still
of
in
the Mountain.
Draper.
It's Point of the Mountain.
That's still Salt Lake County. That's not even all that far
Everything
south.
south
I
of
thought
33rd South is Utah
I
County.
thought for a second you were talking about like Gunnison or something.
No, the prison's gone, right? They bulldozed it.
Well, there's another correctional facility in Gunnison, which Jake is referring to.
Right. But Ben doesn't, obviously.
Everything
his,
south of 33rd is Utah County, huh?
Yep.
Okay.
Well,
Yep.
Ben's like never driven to Vegas, though, in his defense.
I
Ben
have.
goes,
I just don't like
Ben goes north. He doesn't go south. I talk
do
about
like
all,
north.
I talk about all these things along the way to Vegas because I've made that drive maybe 1,000 times. And Ben's like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Like, I have no idea what you're talking about. Lake Powell, what are you talking about?
No, Bear Lake guy.
Right, that's what I'm saying. You're a go north guy, not go south. So maybe it shouldn't be that much of a surprise. But the old prison, no, not in Utah County. Not all that far south, in fact. But good times. Not going to St. George? You strike me as a Shakespeare festival kind of guy.
I've never
you didn't
been.
go to
I've never been.
Cedar City? You really have never been to the
Never been to the Shakespeare
that
Festival.
Really surprises me. I bet your dad, we were talking about art before we were talking with Clark about artists and that sort of thing. I bet your dad has seen every corner of this state.
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
done.
you have
He's done some shows.
no grasp on it whatsoever.
Well, when I was younger.
I've been to the Moab Arts Festival.
Yeah, so have I. Several times. Anyway.
Hey, it is a Football Friday.
Yes,
Ben.
it is.
And we love Football Friday on this show. We're going to talk to Mitch Harper coming up at 10th. No Mitch today. All right, we're going to talk to Steve Bartle.
Mitch is in Florida already.
At the
He left early.
Top of the 11 o'clock.
He is in
hour.
Orlando, but he is unavailable.
Okay.
What's he doing? Hanging out with
I think we all know what that means.
hanging out with the mouse?
Yeah, he's at the Mouse.
That or Universal, one of the two.
I know he has family in the area.
Well, I feel slighted.
Yeah.
Nonetheless.
Agreed.
A little angry. Not that angry. It's Friday.
But Steve will join us coming up at 11:05. Which of these two games is more interesting?
Well, it depends on if you're a Las Vegas predicting wizard conspiracy theorist.
Okay.
What is the updated line on the
Both local teams are favorites.
What?
No. Central
No.
Florida's a favorite.
Yeah.
You
Central
said
Florida's a
2.5 points as of what I saw this morning.
That's right. And then Utah's a 5.5-point favorite. I might flip those.
So, well, no, because I don't know, Ben. Why aren't you reading into it that there's hidden information like you did with the Utah one a couple weeks ago?
Well, that information was all correct.
Yeah, but I'm saying like why aren't people saying is Retzlaff hurt? Hatch?
I have not heard anything on that front.
You're
but
spreading really dangerous information right now.
People did that with Utah
Well,
like 2 weeks
because-
ago.
and-
in
Rising's
Jake's
hurt all the
defense,
time.
That Hail Mary, the failed Hail Mary at the end of the first half. Remember, Jake made that tackle and ran off the field kind of favoring his shoulder. So,
But came back and played the whole second half.
and you're right. So
Everybody was saying that the Wizard
Including the game-winning
has
drive.
spies in Witt's office, and nobody is. It's now a dangerous accusation to talk about the same thing with BYU.
Well, yes, because
And-
Jake Retzlaff's played in every game so far and has been healthy his entire time at BYU.
Didn't the Wizard technically take it off the board for a hot second, Hatch, if I'm not mistaken?
that part I don't know. You may have seen something I didn't see.
I'd have to go back and look, but this thing started off as BYU favorite.
They were favored by 1.5. Yeah.
And then it went off the board for a hot second, and then it comes back. UCF is
it went to
is now-
when
now
UCF
favored.
1.5. Now, yeah, they're 2.5-point favorites. It's
So-
flipped 4 points.
I don't know anything about anything, but I know there was a whole lot of conspiracy theories bouncing around about how the Wizard found out that Cam Rising wasn't going to play.
Well, yeah, but that has nothing to do with, I think, what's going on with BYU and Central Florida. I think the fear there is that Central Florida can run the ball for 300 yards every time they step on the field, and BYU may be susceptible to that as a run defense.
BYU is 7-0. They're leading the conference. As we've said many times, they have one of the best resumes in college football. There is no reason that they should be underdogs ever to a 3-4 UCF team.
I told you that was the case. I said that as well. I said I would flip these two games. I said I would have BYU as a favorite.
But you read into one and not the other. Get into the why, and it has nothing to do with UCF's run game. That's been baked into the cake forever.
Well, actually, it's totally different because they just changed their quarterback, too. Like, there's a lot of differences. What are you talking about? Yeah.
But those were all baked in.
You're speculating about Jake Retzlaff's health now.
That was all baked in before.
You've lost your mind.
Before the Wizard put out the line.
You have lost your mind.
I was the one who was telling you that don't read into that stuff a couple of weeks ago. I want to know why you could read into it with Utah, not BYU.
Why can you read into it injury predictions with Cam Rising and not healthy Jake Retzlaff?
No. The line.
Because Cam Rising misses every game because he's 36 years old. His bones have been ground to dust.
The line dropped on the Wednesday before the game, and everybody's going, oh, what do they know about Cam Rising? Is he not going to play? And he's doing the song and dance thing, and everybody ran with it, which is fine because he didn't play, I suppose. But now, why isn't there a similar conversation when the line does the exact same thing at basically the exact same time, and nobody speculates as to why? So people just figured out about the quarterback change 2 days ago?
No.
The run game was figured out 2 days ago? Well, why are they taking it off the board? And then why does it come in as BYU is now an underdog? And why aren't people talking about how the Wizard is spying on Kalani?
Maybe they are, but I don't think it has anything to do with any type of injury.
Why wouldn't it? People told me then a couple of weeks ago that there's only one thing that could do this to the Wizards line, and that's a major injury. Hatch, am I taking crazy pills? Are you not remembering this?
No, typically quarterbacks are the one position that can swing a line. You're right.
Hatch is not the first person I've heard say that. In fact, I heard like 15 people say that particular week. And now it's reckless to speculate?
100%. Yes.
How?
Wow.
Why?
Yes.
Why? How?
Absolutely. The line in the sand there.
How is that logically possible?
Okay. Well, you're betting your weekend on Jake Retzlaff not playing.
I'm not betting my weekend. I'm saying why aren't people running with that? I mean, why is BYU an underdog against UCF? And again,
because Central Florida can run the ball and it's on the road.
Central
and it's 2
Florida
time zones away.
is 3-4,
and it's 2 time zones away, and you're playing at Orlando.
2 times has been. BYU
All
is
of
the
that stuff
11th
matters.
ranked team.
All of that stuff matters
in the country,
Hey,
and they're probably underranked at that.
I am telling you, I would have flipped this. I would have BYU as the favorite in this game. BYU should win this game, and I think they should win this game pretty easily. I think they will win this game pretty easily. I think the reason the money has moved on this game is purely because you're looking at the strengths of one team and the weaknesses of another, and people are just keep waiting for BYU to drop a game. And I don't know why everyone's waiting for BYU to drop the game. And I know they weren't super impressive throughout all 60 minutes against Oklahoma State at home. Was that Friday or was that Saturday? Friday night. But they're going to bounce back. They're going to be fine. Central Florida's not good.
So it swung because on Wednesday people woke up and think, oh, BYU stinks.
It could
The
be
7-0
one
team.
millionaire who put a bunch of money on this game that swings the whole
now
thing.
Now you're making my arguments, which I actually still agree with, that there's so much variable that it's impossible to read into those things. But everybody was so excited to do it in that week. And now this is a truly bizarre thing. I am not a gambler. I do not endorse gambling. There are much better things to do with your money. But people are obsessed with lines and lines moving and think it has something to do with predicting who's the best football team. And you know what? It rarely has anything to do with that. And it has to do with big bets and balancing money, and it's a big, silly math equation. But this is truly a unique thing where a line swings that far and at one point is taken off the board.
I didn't see that it was taken off the board. I'll take your word for it.
So, I don't know. I don't think it's necessarily reckless, especially given the circumstance. But yeah, maybe Ryan Smith put a $3 million bet on
BYU.
BYU,
and
they're
he's
begging
pay
people
for Devonsta to come to the basketball team
to bet on UC on. I guess what would it be? Begging people to bet on BYU. So maybe Ryan Smith bet on UCF. I don't know. But I know that nobody's talking about, why did that happen like they did so much a couple of weeks ago.
Because you're reversing the order of how these things are happening.
Meaning?
Meaning the reason people talked about a Cam Rising injury was because Cam Rising was hurt. They didn't just throw Cam Rising's injury into the ether and make it up out of nowhere, which is exactly what you're doing with the Jake Retzloff story. There's no injury history with Jake Retzloff. He's been healthy. Yes, as Hatch mentioned, he got banged up at the end of the first half, and then he came back and had a spectacular second half, including the last drive over the final, minute and 37 seconds to drive BYU 75 yards to get the win, including a perfect pass to Lassiter to get them into the end zone with 6 seconds left to play. So there's no evidence that he's hurt. There's nothing but evidence that Cam Rising's hurt. All the time Cam Rising's hurt, which is why that was a part of the conversation. The conversation existed because Cam was hurt, not because the line swung.
Well, because Witt was playing hide the ball with his availability, which is exactly what Kalani is doing. If that
so now we just assume everyone's hurt, and if they don't say anything, but if they don't tell us they're hurt, they're definitely hurt.
But the injury history in this particular case is ridiculous.
I don't think Kalani's coaching because he didn't say he wasn't coaching.
But he maybe nicked up the shoulder in the game. You say that, and then you brush it off as if that's nothing. Cam Rising got hurt on the third play, and he finished the game and then was done for the season 48 hours later. So, yeah, he finished the game, but what about his shoulder? And I don't know, other than the line, the Magic Vegas predicting wizard has moved it a bunch. So why does that happen? Anywho, we'll see.
I bet you Jake Retzloff starts. I'm willing to bet he starts the game.
We are live here at Doug Smith Kia. We're in Linden, just east of the freeway. It's extremely easy to get here. Ben, you mentioned, what was the exit number, 273?
273.
273, 1600 North in Linden. Joining us now, service coordinator here at Doug Smith Kia, Remy Gustafson. Did I say that correctly?
It's Gustavson.
Gustavson.
Yeah.
I struggle with names. It's
you're
thing.
good. Me too.
I'm really bad with it. But this is a beautiful location.
Yeah.
How fun.
Yeah, it is. It's huge here. Like, you'll definitely get your steps in here. I tell that to all the customers because they're like, wow, it's all new and huge. And I'm like, yeah, it definitely is. So, yeah, it's cool.
Is this a soft launch? Are we officially underway? Have you been open for a couple of days? Where are we in the process?
So we've been open. I think we just passed like 2 months around there. So, yeah, we've been open for a little bit, but we have lots of people that have already been coming in and stuff. We're busy probably every single day of the week. So, yeah, it's been good.
And service is a big part of that, right? I mean, we
Yes.
get focused on going and looking at new cars and things like that, but truly your most frequent contact point, I'm sure, with your great customers is in the service department.
Yeah, it is. Most people that come in, they need either maintenance done or have lots of questions, and so it's important that, we're communicating with them and we are able to answer their questions that they do have. So, yeah.
And you continue to provide service. If somebody comes and buys a car here in Linden at the Kia dealership, you can continue to provide service for them here.
Yeah, so if they don't know where to go, I'll usually just tell them where to go, or I'll go find a certain person for them, and just so that they know the area and where they should be going, if that makes sense.
How many cars do you think you pump through here in a day?
In a day, it really depends, but definitely I would say over 60 is in the service drive.
Yeah.
So it depends on who's here for an oil change or needs some main shop work done, or if someone just has a question. It's just all those people. So
you obviously have to be crazy organized.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not the most organized.
Yeah, me either. That's why that stuff intimidates me. But to get 60 cars through service and get it all done, and I mean, you guys have to be on it.
Yep, I'm definitely talking to lots of people every single day, but it's fun. I love talking, so that's it makes my job fun. So
it's the reason I picked radio.
Yeah.
You can't shut me up ever.
Yep.
Well, Remy, thank you for jumping on with us, and thanks for taking care of all of our listeners and the great customers for Doug Smith. Thank you very much.
Problem. Yeah, of course. Thank you.
All right, we're live here in Linden at Doug Smith Kia. In fact, if you need to punch in an address, 499 Linden Park Drive, but really just get off the 1600 North and then head east.
You'll see us.
You'll run right into it. It is super easy. So we'll have Top 3 stories of the day at KSLSports.com in its normal spot, coming up right around the corner. We also want to remind you that we're giving out Utah Hockey Club tickets. Listen to the Zone every week throughout the season for your chance to win. Listen today during JJ and Alex. Tune in at 4 o'clock. The Bear, the head coach of the Utah Hockey Club, is going to join them. Listen for the keyword Sharks, then be caller 12. And if you are that, you're going to win tickets to go see the Utah Hockey Club take on the San Jose Sharks at Delta Center on October 28th. And, of course, listen to The Zone, your radio home of the Utah Hockey Club. More next, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
The wins just keep on coming for Kalani Sitake and the Cougars as BYU keeps their dream season alive.
It's magical. It's spiritual. How can you not be romantic about this game?
As the Cougars look to stay undefeated and make their bid to the college football playoffs.
Happy feet. Downfield. Caught. Broken tackle. Lassiter. Touchdown. Are you kidding me?
The KSL Sports Zone will be with the Cougars every step of the way. Your home for the best coverage of BYU football.
Hey, let's go.
Is on air, online, and on the KSL Sports app. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Jacob Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone, broadcasting live from the brand new Doug Smith Kia dealership in Linden. We're down here in Utah County, 499 Linden Park Drive, right off of I-15. It's very easy to find, and we welcome you to come pay us a visit. Want to remind you can win lunch from the KSL Sports Zone at Cafe Rio on Taco Tuesday. Listen every Tuesday for your chance to win a $20 Cafe Rio gift card. Learn more about Taco Tuesday and great deals available every week at CafeRio.com. Time for the top 3 stories of the day. KSLSports.com, brought to you by J. Brooks Jewelers. 2 locations, one on Winchester Street across from Fashion Place Mall, the other at Traverse Mountain in Lehigh. All right, Hatch, where are we starting today?
Utah Jazz take on the Golden State Warriors tonight over at the Delta Center.
Warriors blew out the Trailblazers on the road in their season opener, 140-104. They scored over 40 points twice in 2 different quarters,
By the
37 in another.
Did you guys see the point adjustment from that game? That went from it was 139 to 104, but they adjusted it the day after because of a missed free throw.
Oh, I thought they adjusted the score because somebody got hurt, or we were speculating about injuries. I thought we were just being reckless.
No, that was actually evidence of said things.
Okay, good for the Warriors. 140 points is a lot in their debut. We talked a lot about the Warriors earlier this week and whether or not we thought they were contenders or where Steph is in his career. I do think this Warriors team is still convincingly better than the Jazz, but I thought the Jazz gave Memphis a really good test their first game, and I expect this one to be pretty close as well.
I don't know how the Utah Jazz will overcome Brandon Podziemski. I don't know if that's
he's better than Lowry.
If that's really going to be possible. That's exactly what I'm saying.
Right. And
he's like their 8th best player.
So, yeah, they're in good shape.
And he's better than Lowry? They should beat the Jazz by 50. No?
It seems like that would be the line. If you're not willing to trade Podziemski for Markkanen, you must expect big things in game 2.
Well, they like him, Ben.
Yeah.
They think he's going to be pretty good.
I'm going to be watching for, obviously, a Keontae George bounce back. Can he improve on his 3 of 18 performance? This is a different defensive backcourt. Not that they're terrible necessarily in Golden State, but a different type of defensive backcourt, and then there's not a Zach Edey in the middle, which I do actually think threw Keontae off early in that game, and he never really found his rhythm. He had his best game of his rookie season against Golden State last year. The 9-3 game, I think, was against the Warriors right before the All-Star break. We'll see how he bounces back in this game.
Locke really likes the Warriors still. I don't know if you heard him with DJ and PK this morning. He was talking about how they're going to be in the playoffs, not the play-in, but in the playoffs. And his argument was about depth and his theory about 200 and whatever minutes thing, and he likes them because of their depth. But I don't know if I'm really seeing it. What am I missing? Is depth really going to make that big of a difference? But I don't love Kuminga.
No, a big issue for them is, does Andrew Wiggins or Jonathan Kuminga turn into a player? Wiggins was and has since been terrible since starting on that team that won the title. He's been awful.
I don't even know if he really was that season either.
Sure. He was playing well, but is he a star? No, but they turned him into a starting all-star because of the voting, but I don't think he was necessarily that level of player.
But if you're the guy the other team chooses not to guard,
yeah.
and you have a good year, I don't know if that's real, you know what I mean? But okay. One of those two, I'd buy into that argument.
We'll see how Buddy Hield plays. He was pretty quiet last year. Was he started in Indiana? Or was he in Sacramento?
He was in Sacramento.
And then got traded to Philly. He ended up in Philly, where he ended there, and the reason you don't remember that is because he was pretty non-existent in Philly once he was there, and they thought he was going to come in and provide a lot of spacing, and they were excited for that. He didn't do it. And
you're putting a lot of eggs in the Draymond Green basket.
No,
which, from a health standpoint, I'm not even talking about the other shenanigans. A health standpoint, I think that's asking a lot. I just don't know that I see it.
I agree with Locke that they have the depth. I mean, they have 9 guys that are legit NBA players that can play. You are betting a lot on Kuminga, Wiggins, and old Draymond Green being really high level.
And I don't know if I love slow-mo.
And he's old. Yeah, he's washed.
I think he's got a good nickname.
I mean, not washed, but he's 10 years in the NBA, and
I don't think he was
out of him.
that key to what Minnesota was doing on the floor. Now, I'd buy into he was a key locker room component or whatever because he apparently is quite popular. But on the floor, is he really doing a whole lot for you?
Let's see. I'm looking at who played well for them in their first game. Buddy Hield had 22 points. To our point about Buddy joining them, was 5 of 7 from the three-point line, and Wiggins had 20. So they've had a couple of early contributions from those guys that I think are going to be their turning point players. If those guys play well this season, Golden State will be in the playoffs. I think they'll be a top 6 playoff team. You are betting on Buddy Hield and Andrew Wiggins to play really well, and that is a dangerous bet. That's a 50-50 gamble at best every year. And if they both miss, it's going to be hard for, I think, Golden State to be a competitive team.
The one thing I'll have my eye on, Ben, for the Jazz is going to be, can Keontae George take fewer shots?
Yeah. He doesn't need to take 18.
Can we go below 18?
Right. Can you get to double-digit assists? In all honesty, not that you have to do that, but when you can, do it. You don't have to do it every night, but if it's out there, go grab those. Those are easy.
Go get your shooting work in. I got it. You got to do it. But 18 is a lot. To go 3 for 18 in a game is something.
Yep. Especially when Lowry had it going and had a mismatch all night.
Absolutely.
Yeah. No, there was a lot of issues with that performance.
So I will have, and he deserves some latitude to evolve. I mean, it is game number 2 after all, but fewer shots. Shoot less, Ben.
And
pass more.
He had enough of those games last year that he should know not to do that.
I would hope so.
This is not his first, okay, I'm on the big stage. I'm going to see what happens here. He's been in those situations before to know, hey, I can get other guys involved and the team can win as a result.
Well, listen, on this team anyway, if you watched what happened with Colin Sexton and Hot Dog last year, and it still doesn't sink in that you can just go out and play 1-on-5. I mean, I don't know what else to tell you. That made it pretty obvious what the team is looking for. I mean, it put it out there like one guy played and one guy didn't.
And one guy's back and one guy's not. And I'm sure Keontae recognizes they lost that game by 2 and he was 3 of 18.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not the only reason they lost, but he was a big part of it.
The Chicago dog. All right, what's next?
Utah set to debut a new offense against Houston.
Yeah, what do we think? You expecting much different?
In what sense? Just saying, like, formations and things like that, probably not, because that's really difficult to change.
How about rhythm?
Mid-year.
How about success? I mean, that would be different than what we've seen so far this season. Offensive success in any form.
I'm not expecting much, to be honest. But Houston might not score at all. So the bar is going to be super low. I mean, Houston is really bad on offense. Houston is not TCU in a sense that Utah was vulnerable to how TCU plays and that TCU did have an offense that could move the ball, and they moved it some, but they still only managed 13 points, you know what I mean? Houston's not moving the ball on anybody, so I certainly am not going to bet on them to move the ball against Utah. So are you telling me, or not you per se, sorry, can Utah score 8 points or more? I got to think so. But I think that would have been true with Ludwig, too.
So you can't do this, but let's take their 2 wins off the board for Houston. They beat Rice 33-7, and then they beat TCU 30-19. That leaves 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games.
And that was a pretty major upset, by the way, the TCU.
Huge. They switched quarterbacks.
Right.
It caught TCU off guard. Yeah, there was a whole
thing.
randomness to that game of changing the quarterback and having success. If you erase those 2 games, or just look at their losses, their 5 losses, they've scored a total of 52 points in those 5 losses.
Yeah.
They're averaging 2 points in that, whatever that, 10.4 points in those games. I mean, 10.4 points in their losses is insane, including back-to-back shutouts against Cincinnati and Iowa State. So, yeah, you're right. Utah might hold them to 3 points. Utah might hold them to 6 points. The question is, can Utah do more than beat them 7-6?
Okay, so your don't do math on the air is actually pretty good. Where do you think, this is our favorite game,
Yeah.
where do you think Houston ranks nationally out of 134 teams in scoring offense?
Oh, because you've got to imagine, like, they may have accidentally gotten a pick 6 in one of these games.
This is their win, and this factors in their wins. So
Okay, 128th. Worse? 130th. 132nd. 134th? They're the worst? Or
dead
there's 100?
last.
Yeah.
Dead stinking last, Ben. And again, I compliment you on your math skills because you take it, including the wins, they're averaging 13.7 points per game. In fact, they are almost a point and a half, which is a mile in these kind of discussions, a point and a half behind Kennesaw State, who is 132. And on top of that, Ben, they are the only team to not score 100 total points in the season
Yeah, that's crazy.
thus far.
Yep.
I
Well-
mean, so the bar is going to be about as low as it can be for the offense. Like,
Well, now Utah,
they
here's the thing.
literally are they just have to get off the bus. That's it.
Utah's averaging 13 points per game in their last 3 losses. So this might be an absolute dog as far as scoring goes.
I agree. No, I 1,000% agree. But I don't think Houston can score more than 7 points. That brings me back to my point that can the Utah offense get 8 or more points? Yes. Can the Utah offense get 20 or more points? Probably not.
Yeah, probably not.
But it's not going to take 20 to beat the Houston Cougars. I don't think.
Yeah. Utah opened as 3-point favorites. They're at 4.5.
Total offense, Houston ranks 121st in D1 and 303 yards per game. I mean,
What
it's
you're
nothing.
telling me is that if Utah does struggle to stop them, they've got much bigger problems than just the offensive side of the ball, which has been a question mark.
They won't struggle to stop you.
They shouldn't.
I don't think so.
They shouldn't.
No, I really don't. I mean, they're that bad.
Okay.
So you think Isaac could get 8 points, right?
I hope so.
And the offense?
They didn't
Like,
last
that's
week.
not a real. That's not a
Didn't
high
last
bar.
week.
No, they did not. No, they did.
We'll talk to
not.
Bartle about this coming up at 11 o'clock.
All right, what's next?
All right, number 3, the Utah Hockey Club blown out for the second consecutive game.
Speaking of teams that suddenly can't score, I mean, they were putting up 5 and 6 goals, it seems like, every time they stepped onto the ice early in the game, and some of that momentum has been lost. They're certainly not getting the type of defensive play that they need either between the pipes or at the blue line, and they are struggling.
How much of this do you think is running into to better teams? And I more think like the Utah Hockey Club's built so offensively focused, and circumstances has not helped them defensively either, obviously. But like, what happens when you run up against a really good team that just ragdolls you? You know what I mean? It's like Mike Leach had some really bad offensive performances when the other team was just better. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And if you're one-dimensional, and in any sport, I got to imagine, and you take away that one dimension, it's going to be a really long night.
I might counter that with the fact that they did play well against the Rangers and the Islanders, who are okay teams. But they were beating them 6-5 and 5-4, and were going to overtime a lot. So, yeah, you start running into some of these better teams.
It's not true every night, of course, but yeah.
Yeah, you run into these better teams, and they've struggled. I mean, they are 1-4 in their last 5 games. I think one of those was an overtime loss, so they did get a point. But, yeah, they are not playing particularly well after jumping out of the gate. And we will see if they settle on a full-time, I mean, there's no full-time, but a more regular starting goaltender, because Connor Ingram struggled 2 games ago in the shutout, 4-0 to Ottawa, was benched after the first period, and then Karel Vejmelka last night also gave up 5 goals.
That's the reason the general manager is telling everybody who will listen, like, just chill.
Chill.
Just chill a little bit.
Yeah. At the Kings coming up tomorrow, 2 p.m. game. One of these weird ones. They fly out and they fly right back. They do not spend a lot of time in the cities if they don't have to.
Oh, I feel terrible for them.
It'd be nice to be in L.A.
Then get on the charter and come back in
Yeah.
such a short period of time.
Yeah.
I mean, how do they manage?
Tough.
Brutal. And we know they're not staying at the Days Inn anymore.
No. Life's good. I'm sure they're there now, but they don't even stay the night.
What a funny complaint. Or not complaint, I guess, but like observation when you move to a new owner in a new town. Like, oh, man, we're staying in actual hotels.
They do play the San Jose Sharks on Monday, who are bad. That's why they had the number 1 overall pick. We'll see if they can get back to their winning ways.
It's been a while since I've stayed in a motel, Ben. Have you, like motel, the definition as I understand it is that it has doors facing outside. That's the definition of a motel, right?
You can drive up, yeah.
You can drive up, and then the door to the room is facing the outdoor. When was the last motel?
West Yellowstone.
It's been okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
2020, when I was hiding from the pandemic in Wyoming.
I think it's much more. That's much
Montana.
more recent than me. But yeah, West Yellowstone. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
All right. Hatch, when was the last time you stayed in a motel?
Hatch lives in a motel.
I do live in a motel. Thank you for pointing that out. No, actually, it was in Texas back in like 2016-ish.
Man, I like a motel. Call me crazy.
They can be seedy, but I get what you're saying. Because
I like the charm.
There is charm to some of them, yes.
And I like feeling like I know everybody else who's staying at the motel because I can see what car they drive and I can see them get into their car in the morning.
I feel like this should be my policy. And it's been a while, but like middle of nowhere motel, that makes some sense. Urban motel,
yeah, I
think I'm hitting pass.
Yeah, and there's stories.
Urban Motel is a good band name.
Urban Motel.
Urban Motel.
Urban Motel.
There are legendary stories about the BYU and Utah trips to Laramie, Wyoming back in the day because they literally stayed at a motel when the wind would like blow underneath your door. So that's good times.
Like,
ask Steve Cleveland about it sometime.
I'm just picturing the urban motels in just Salt Lake City. And it's like I don't think I'm going to stay there. Like I don't think
it's where the best knife fighters stay. What are you talking about?
Stay tuned. More next. Jacob Ed, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
It's game week for the Utes, and the Zone is getting you ready for kickoff. Kyle Whittingham and the Utes will try to snap their 3-game losing skid and get the season back on track with a road battle against Houston. Listen all week long for the best coverage of Ute football. Then catch the Ute pregame show this Saturday at 4 with a postgame show immediately following the game. Your home for the best coverage of Utah football is live on air, online, and on the KSL Sports app. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Live today, we're excited about it. We're here at Doug Smith Kia in Linden, 499 Linden Park Drive, and they're a big event. They're blowing it out. They've got food. They want to make sure everybody's aware that they're here and ready to service the community. And I walked back there, Ben, and I got to tell you, because I think that you can really judge an operation by the condition of their restrooms.
Yeah.
Impeccable
you
restroom.
We just won, one of our local gas stations won Best Public Restroom.
I did see that.
I think they got it wrong.
It's here.
I think we've got a new front runner.
In the fixture, they've got an automatic hand dryer in the fixture.
Got water in the middle, and then the hand dryer's attached right to it.
Impeccable.
Yeah.
And joining us now, Thomas Barnett, General Sales Manager for Doug Smith Kia.
Dude, it does way more than wash your hands, though.
I mean, it's amazing. And I think it's a sign that you guys run a pretty tight ship.
I appreciate it.
No, I was just blown away by the fixture. I'm making jokes, but awesome. This is a beautiful location.
Yeah.
I mean, the building's beautiful. You guys have a sea of inventory out there. I mean, congratulations. It's awesome.
We appreciate it. Yeah, it's good. We got a lot of cars.
We've talked a lot about how nice the facilities are. If you haven't driven a Kia in a while, they're really amazing. I mean, the climb they have made as a company in general, and then the types of vehicles they put out. I had a Kia Sorento for a long time, and I absolutely loved it. They're really incredible cars.
Perfect, yeah. They're great. They're awesome to drive. You need to get in them.
What's your like favorite? Not like top seller or whatever, but
what's your go-to?
Thomas, your favorite
I
Kia?
own a Telluride, so
do
that's the one that's what I'd go
Pretty
for.
sweet?
Yeah, they're nice. They're a great car. I like the really cool technology features on them. So.
My wife's really into the bells and whistles.
Yeah.
I think things are pretty awesome these days on that front, right?
Huge sunroof, all the fun stuff, yeah.
So you've been open for a couple of months now. What should, at least that's what we've been told, today's like the official kind of grand opening, the ribbon cutting.
Yeah.
But you've been open for a little while now. As our listeners come in or looking for a new vehicle, what should they expect?
First, they should expect a great experience and then some great pricing to follow it. So we've got everything marked down aggressive on a lot of our vehicles. There's free accessory. I guess we're including about a $300 accessory credit for every vehicle purchased over the weekend. So on top of the discount, so great time to buy a car.
So add one of those bells and whistles. Get
Yeah,
one,
right.
Get one of those things
extra
for free. Yeah,
that's
that doesn't
right, yeah.
sound terrible at all. The location is extraordinarily difficult to find, though. I mean, just being
Just east of the freeway.
just being so close to the freeway and so visible. I mean, no, it's easy to get here, and you guys are great.
Perfect. Yeah, we appreciate it.
All right, come down here, check it out for yourself. Come down today, get some free food, and meet everybody. 499 Linden Park Drive here in Linden. Very easy to find, just east of I-15. We'll have more Jake and Ben coming up next. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Jake Scott, Ben Anderson, live from the brand new Doug Smith Kia location here in Linden. 499 Linden Park Drive. Come check out all the great Kias, check out their brand new service department, this beautiful showroom, the mighty fine restrooms with fixtures that I now want for my very own home.
Oh, man, they've got, they're taking care of you. If you are getting your vehicle serviced or maybe you're looking to come down and buy a vehicle, they will take care of you while you're hanging out here. And not just today on the ribbon cutting where they have food, but waters, coffee, all kinds of great stuff in the back.
Come down and eat some food, though.
Yeah.
Today's the
That
day.
looks good. I'm going to walk over there.
Right off of 1600 North exit off I-15, just head east, and then you'll see it on the left. You'll hang a left. It'll be right there, right next to the Home Depot. Easy to get to, easy to find. And, we're excited about being here. Yeah, they're getting some mixed up over there.
Yeah, what is that?
Yeah,
I should have worn my glasses.
What's going on over there, Ben? We might have to investigate.
Yeah.
Coming up a little later. Hopefully Steve will give a
Looks to
really...
me like it says, my eyes are so bad, it looks like it says milk slides, and that doesn't make any sense, so I bet it says something different.
No, I bet it... Mini
sliders. Oh, that was close to milk
Okay.
slides.
No,
my
it's
eyes aren't that bad.
Not really.
2020.
Hopefully Bartle will give a real wordy answer, and we can duck over
Get
there.
some food.
Let's jump out to the zone phone.
I heard
Joining
you're
us
still
now.
in milk slides.
He covers the Utes for KSLSports.com. He's nice enough to join us on Fridays. He's our buddy Steve Bartle. What's up, Steve?
Nothing. I just want some of these mini milk sliders. What are we talking about here?
I don't know what a milk slider is, but I don't want any part of it.
Well, I bet you have some pretty good food down there in Houston. Man, we were talking about this. This might be the lowest scoring game in college football history. These are two offenses that have really struggled throughout the season.
Oh, yeah. There is definitely a real possibility for that being the case. I think in terms of, point totals from Vegas, I think this is actually the lowest total of the season at 36.5. So, yeah, it speaks to the defenses. Both defenses are good, but just both offenses have really, really struggled. And I think for Utah, you're going to need an absolutely dominant performance, to eliminate any sort of threat from that Houston Cougars offense. They have some pieces. They have some guys that they can utilize. For Utah, you gotta figure out some things offensively. It's just they're going through a major transition with that offensive coordinator spot, and they got to figure some things out this week. And so, yeah, this is it has all the makings of being a really low-scoring, ugly game.
What will look different, or do we know, under Bajakian?
It's not going to look totally different just because you can't really, there's only so much you can do in a week with a new offensive coordinator. The system it's in place, and he has to work within, the scheme and the playbook. But I do think with Bajakian's background as an offensive coordinator, he's worked primarily out of spread, which includes, a lot of shotgun, some pistol, which are things that we've seen from Utah this season. You go back to the Arizona State game with Cam in there, and they were primarily shotgun. So you know that it's there, right? And I think that's probably where we'll see the biggest shift. I don't know how much exactly we'll see shift to that, but I do think just given his background as a spread offensive coordinator, that'll be kind of the biggest difference in terms of how it looks and what Bajakian brings to the table.
So, yeah, how quickly can you change that? Like, how much shotgun did Utah have in their offense that is ready for Isaac Wilson? And then what does that do for Isaac Wilson's game as far as allowing him to improve or have more success moving the football?
Yeah, that's kind of the interesting thing, right? Is clearly they have, plenty of shotgun, in that playbook. I referenced that the Arizona State game. And they did that out of necessity with Cam because of the hand and his inability to go under center. But regardless, it's there, right? You know that they've got a lot of work out of shotgun, a lot of stuff that they can go to. And for Wilson, the reason why it just makes sense to go to more spread is that it's just when you go spread, you're using space as an ally offensively, right? And with this offense, there's just not a lot of space right now to operate. Whether it be in the run game, you've got the safeties, at 10 yards deep and just on their toes, ready to get downhill to take away the run game because there's no fear of, getting beat over the top. There's no fear of the consequences of, getting downhill too fast. And it's because, part of that too is just the formations, Utah's personnel with the tight ends and a lot of that traditional stuff that we've seen, under Ludwig. It seems that with Isaac, he's struggled, operating and executing, at the same level, not even at the same level as Cam, but just at a level that allows the offense to produce. And so, you've got to hit the reset button. I think that's what, it's unfortunate that it cost Ludwig, his future, his job with the program, it's his decision to step down. But I think with Isaac, he comes from that Corner Canyon offense, which is primarily spread, and it just allows quarterbacks to spread the defense out, and defenses, when you're spread out, it makes what they're doing easier to identify, right? Players are going to declare whether they're dropping in coverage, whether they're blitzing. It's easier for quarterbacks to identify when it's spread, when you have to force them to cover, all 53, 52 yards, the width of the field. And that can be an ally to Wilson. And I think that's kind of where we'll see the biggest difference for him moving forward.
Now, Steve, I must confess that I've voluntarily done a lot of things in my life. Voluntarily. There's one side of voluntarily, like sit on the couch and watch TV for a long period of time. And then there's the other side of the voluntarily scale that is help my sisters-in-law move. Just how voluntarily do you think Andy Ludwig left this job?
Yeah, I think look, we're all smart. We understand what's going on here, right? And I think, there was certainly there was room for Andy to make a decision to step down. How much of that decision was his own? I don't think Ludwig went to Witt's office and said, "Hey, I'm just done." I don't think that is the situation we're talking about here. But I think ultimately it came to the conclusion that it did with Andy Ludwig deciding to step down. After probably some very difficult, conversations, it's the issue is that, this has gotten worse, over the last three contests. There hasn't been many signs of progress. There haven't been answers to problems that have plagued the offense to this point. And, last Saturday night's game was brutal. They crossed the 50 once outside of the touchdown throw. They punted 11 times, and when you have an offensive performance like that, you have to find answers. You have to be able to provide answers as an offensive coordinator, and with where they're at, it just seems like Ludwig, felt that perhaps making this decision, this choice, perhaps would benefit the team moving forward. And so, but again, I don't think Andy Ludwig voluntarily went to Witt's office and said, "Hey, I'm going to hang it up. I think this is it." But I just think, we're all smart enough to kind of pick up on that.
But I guess along those lines, we know Andy Ludwig is a good offensive coordinator. Like, we know he can win high-level games. So when he's not, clearly there's an issue on the field as far as the talent goes for Utah. And while that's not necessarily changing, do you think there will be a boost from just getting a different voice in there and a different set of eyes?
I think there's obviously the greater potential for that. Who knows exactly what this is going to look like on Saturday, but there is potential for it. And I think getting a fresh mind, a fresh set of eyes, fresh set of ideas with the playbook is something that can benefit this team. And so it's going to be up to the players to have bought in to what Bajakian is preaching, and then to go out on Saturday and to execute. But I do think, that was kind of an issue for Ludwig over time, as it just became, too predictable. It became too stale. And those are things that, a fresh new play caller can impact, can make an impact. And so, I think it's going to look similar in terms of the formations that we see, in terms of some of the looks that we see, some of the plays that we've seen. But I think in terms of the sequencing of plays, what calls are made in which certain down situations, yardage situations, I think that is where a new play caller can make a big difference in this type of situation. Again, it's just going to be up to the players to go out and execute that on Saturday.
Steve, I've asked you before several games, how many points does the offense have to get to win or win comfortably? And I got to think the number this week is what, like 8?
Yeah, dude, it's so bad. It's bad. Not very many. It's not very many. This Houston Cougars offense has struggled of its own volition, I guess you could say, this season. And this Utah defense, this is a unit that is still playing good ball. It's leading. I think they're number 12 in the country in terms of points allowed. You don't do that by just being, mediocre average. You've got to be playing pretty good defense. And, there's been issues. The missed tackles have been a thing. But this defense has played good ball. And I think with getting Karene Reed back last week and just kind of the message from players and coaches over the last couple of weeks is there's been a growing point of emphasis of playmaking and making plays, creating takeaways, creating more havoc plays. And I think that is kind of the mindset of this defense moving forward. And I think they're looking to put out, a pretty dominant effort on Saturday, and Utah's going to need it. And so, I think, if this defense can limit Houston to single digits, that's great for Utah because it means that, like you said, they only need to score 8 points probably to get a win in this one.
One of the major issues for Utah has been the turnover margin has not been what it was in years past. And some of that is on the defense, not forcing these turnovers. But again, the margin means what the offense is doing as well, and that's been a big issue. Is that do you think that's going to be the main focus for Bajakian and this Utah offense? Is just don't turn the ball over, even though I know they punted 11 times. You want to have more success than that. Are they going to open it up, or are they going to be more conservative?
That's such a good question, because I think you need to protect the ball better. They're not horrible in terms of the turnover margin, but there's when you're minus, what are they, -3, I think, -4 or -5, somewhere in there. It's not horrible, right? But I think the offense, how much risk versus reward are you willing to put out there? I think you need to take more risks. I think you need to be willing to give Wilson some opportunities to make mistakes and to learn through them, which they have to this point, and that needs to continue. But I think, Bajakian, he needs to create and provide this offense. The offense is built around Mekhi Bernard in the run game. What Bajakian needs to do most is provide a complementary passing game to keep defenses as honest as you can get them, right? They're always going to be tilted to defending the run against Utah because that's just the situation that this offense is in with an inexperienced quarterback. But I think what they can do is you don't need a lot of production in the passing game. It just has to be valuable production. You need to be able to get first downs in the passing game. You need to be able to get your guys involved, to force defenses to account for your playmakers, out in space. And, if you can get a touchdown, great. That's the sort of stuff that Bajakian needs to be able to provide this offense is a complementary passing game to at least take some of the pressure off the run game to perform at an all-time level, given the point of emphasis that opponents are making on taking that away. So I think that has to be priority number one over anything else is finding a complementary passing game, regardless of whether that means you're putting, your quarterback at risk of throwing, an interception or two. Like they've got to find a complementary passing game to get this offense going. And I think that it's a tough battle. There's a fine line, but they've got to find a way to get production, out of the throw game.
Curious to your thoughts on the offensive line, Steve. I think the Isaac Wilson, Andy Ludwig debacle has taken a lot of the headlines, and I don't. Why can Utah not run over these weak teams? I mean, Arizona of all teams is standing them up. I mean, TCU hasn't been good on the line of scrimmage all year, and then all of a sudden they look great against Utah. I'm curious your thoughts on the O-line and their performance and role in the shortcomings.
Yeah, this gets back to space and the lack of space being an issue, right? I talked about that earlier, is that the field has shrunk so much for opposing defenses where you've got safeties lining up at 8, 9, 10 yards when typically they're at 12, 13, 14 against teams that, have proven themselves capable of moving the ball down the field through the throw game. And just those 2-3 yards, and then you make all the difference, right? Those 2-3 yards with the safeties make all the difference. Linebackers are at the line of scrimmage. Utah's dealing with, a loaded box where they've got 7, 8 guys, in the box, which just it takes away gaps, it takes away lanes, and so regardless of how much more physical you are, when you've got 8 guys in the box, you don't have that many people capable of to account for all 8 of those guys to get a hat on a hat essentially. So again, it gets back to creating space for the run game to capitalize and to generate movement up front, because defenses are just loading up with numbers and overwhelming the offensive line. Certainly there's things that the offensive line has to clean up, and with that, that brings in the conversation of protection and some of the issues that we've seen there. There needs to be better communication across the offensive line. Typically when there are breakdowns in protections and blocking schemes, it's because of poor communication. I think that's something that should have been emphasized throughout the week this week, is better communication so that everybody's on the same page with what they're doing. And then from there, it's just about, being physical and being tough, which this group has shown that it can be. But again, it's just the fact that they are getting overwhelmed in terms of the numbers that they're facing in these blocking schemes.
All right, Steve, just from a feel standpoint, so just kind of subjective, how important is it for Utah to get a win over Houston to go into the bye week before hosting BYU in the rivalry game in a couple of weeks?
Yeah, it's paramount, right? Like we learned the last bye week that when you sit in the loss during a bye week, that's going to be tough, right? And the frustrations mount with this 3-game losing streak, which this is the first 3-game losing streak for Utah since 2017. A lot of these guys have never been through this. None of these, nobody really, nobody's been on this team since 2017. Nobody has been through this outside of the coaches. And so, it's super important that Utah breaks through, gets back in the win column this week to get into the bye week, to just kind of shift the vibe, shift the momentum, moving forward into this November month and this November slate, which is brutal. It's tough, right? You've got BYU, Iowa State, which are at the top of the conference. You've got Colorado, which is playing good ball and has gotten better over the course of the season. And then you got UCF, which is the top rushing attack in the conference. They've got talent at the skill positions. And so, Utah desperately needs a win tomorrow against Houston to kind of build momentum moving forward for the rivalry game and for the next rivalry game. And then, to finish out with Iowa State and UCF, they absolutely need the win this week.
All right, Ben, which theoretical, did I say that right, number would be higher, okay? Houston's points scored against Utah or number of seconds Steve Bartle could stay on a mechanical bull?
I thought you were going to say how long it would take to eat a milk slider. Still going to go with Houston. I'm
still going with Houston? Because I think he could beat 7 seconds.
You think so?
Well, it depends on how I guess he was doing the controls, but like Steve seems like he has good balance.
And I bet he could put that bull in a headlock.
Yeah, thank you. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well,
give me the bull. Give me the bull.
2 safeties. You think Bartle's going to get 2 safeties on the back of that bull?
The problem is Bartle is committing himself to doing it. So you're going to have to let us know your time, Steve, and then we'll see how many points Houston scores.
Okay, let's do it. I'll find a mechanical bull. There's got to be one down there in Houston, right?
It's Houston.
Oh,
yeah.
There's got to be one.
There's a real bull. Yeah, just get on a real one.
Yeah.
Hey,
All right.
whoa. There's a fine line here. I'm putting in the sand.
If you run into that mechanical bull, you let us know that time.
All right, will do, fellas.
All right, Steve, you're the best, buddy. We'll be glued to your coverage, man. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Steve.
Appreciate you guys.
Steve Bartle covers the Utes for KSLSports.com. We appreciate him jumping on with us each and every Friday. Joining us now, Rick Larson. We are live here at Doug Smith Kia, the brand new location in Linden. It is beautiful, 499 Linden Park Drive. But Rick is the Express Lane Manager. What's going on, Rick? Thanks for jumping on with us, man.
You betcha, anytime. No, what's going on is we're hustling today. It's a Friday. Busy day, starting out busy, going to end up busy. We're glad to have you guys here. It's awesome to be here.
Well, Express is a good word anytime you're getting your car worked on, if there's any service or anything you need. So what does the Express Lane Manager do, and what should our listeners expect?
So what I do is, yes, Express is the key word here. We try to be as fast as we can and as accurate as possible. What I do is you come in, you see me, I tell you, yes, 45 minutes to an hour. Here's what we're going to do. Here are the things that we're going to do. And then from then on, I turn over to my techs, and I watch the clock. I want to make sure that we meet that promise time, and I want to make sure that we get the job done accurately. And if there are any recommendations, we let you know so that we can manage it from there.
You know, events like this, Ben, the grand opening, and there's great food over there. Like, I know you guys want to get word out to the community that you're here and the doors are open. And when I think that word, community and car dealership, people think sales and car dealership, but really service is you guys are in touch with the community more than anybody.
We are. The sales department sells. Sometimes they sell to one person. Sometimes they sell to an entire family over generations. We have quite a few customers who have purchased 5-6 cars, and their kids have bought 2-3. It's not a one-time thing for them, but for us, we're the ones who see them regularly. We're the ones who, do checkups on their car. We're the ones who let them know if there's anything that they need to be worried about, or if there's nothing to be worried about.
You ever see anything funny, like a French fry got in the dash or something like that?
We have seen we did see a squirrel on a cabin filter one day.
Yeah, sure. Get out of town! Really?
They came in. They said something smells like it died in there, and sure enough, it did.
They were right.
Oh, that is so funny.
So it happens.
Oh, that is hilarious. Well, hey, Rick, thank you for jumping on with us. We appreciate you and all you do, and thanks for having our show out, man.
You betcha. Thanks for being here.
All right, that is Rick Larson, Express Lane Manager here at Doug Smith Kia. We'd invite you to come join us, the brand new Linden location, 499 Linden Park Drive.
Man, Express. You don't want to spend all day working on your car.
Oh, dude. I can't. Like, 45 minutes to an hour. Like, Rick is speaking my language. Have you ever, been like, I'll wait it out when you're going to get your car serviced or something like that? Like, I got a little work to do on my laptop.
I didn't have a beard when I got here.
Then 2.5 hours rolls by, and you're like, what am I doing?
Yeah, what am I doing here?
Yeah, what am I doing?
Yep.
So that's cool to hear that they stress that. That's a big deal to me. I got to imagine most people listening. 499 Linden Park Drive, Doug Smith Kia. More Jake and Ben coming up next. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
The wins just keep on coming for Kalani Sitake and the Cougars as BYU keeps their dream season alive.
It's magical. It's spiritual. How can you not be romantic about this game?
As the Cougars look to stay undefeated and make their bid to the college football playoffs.
Happy feet. Downfield. Caught. Broken tackle.
KSL Sports Zone will be with the Cougars every step of the way. Your home for the best coverage of BYU football.
Hey, let's go!
Is on air, online, and on the KSL Sports app. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Jacob Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Jake Scott, Ben Anderson, live from Doug Smith Kia down here in Linden, their brand new location. Jump off the 1600 North exit in Linden, head east, and you'll see it. You'll just have to turn left at the light. It's very easy to get to, and come visit us. They've got the food rolled out over there, Ben, which smells good.
I'm excited, man. I'm going to get some mini burgers.
They're making a big deal. It's their grand opening for this location. They're going to do the ribbon cutting, and they've been open for a couple months, Ben, but this is the official launch of their brand new location. It's beautiful. It's gorgeous. Great building. All the people, Ben, smiles on their faces, which says a lot. We've met a lot of the crew down here, and Doug Smith has been great for years and years, so excited to be a part of it.
Yeah, and we're going to be here all day, so very cool opportunity. Do you feel like pressure is going to be an issue for BYU the rest of the year? We just heard that clip from A-Rod talking about, hey, it doesn't matter that you're 7-0. It's one game at a time, and that's how you have to look at it, which is, that's a cliche, but really BYU could get overwhelmed if they want to start thinking, you got to win 5 more games. You're thinking about Utah. You're thinking about the games you've got before the end of the season. Do you feel like that pressure's there? And then second question, do they have the most pressure of any team in the Big 12 right
now? Second answer, no.
Okay. Who do you think does?
I don't know. Anybody still in contention for the conference title?
Do you think Kansas State and Iowa State feel more pressure than BYU does? Or do you think they're all pretty
equal? I would guess it's the exact same.
Technically, Kansas State should feel more, right? Because they have the loss. They're the only team of those that has the loss. But they do control their own destiny. If they beat Iowa State, they're in.
I'm not saying that pressure isn't a thing. I obviously we've all stood over the 3-foot putt, to win a nickel from our buddy, and choke that thing badly. I'm not saying it does not exist, but I don't know how much of it will be. Well, let me put it this way: why are we questioning whether or not they'll be able to handle the pressure well when they just won a game they had to win on the drive that they had to do in 90 seconds? I mean, does it get more like they were 90 seconds away from being undefeated last game?
Yeah, I think that's why I ask, because I don't feel it. And some of it's different because the nice thing about being in a conference is it bails you out. You can have a loss. But BYU can lose a game and still go to the Big 12 title. It's not guaranteed, but BYU can lose a game and still go to the Big 12 title.
Now, if they're thinking that, then that's coaching malpractice. You can't have your team thinking that.
I agree with you.
I mean, it's one thing to have, and I'm not saying you said that, but if the team is thinking that, then they are going to lose.
But this is not like trying to bust the BCS where you have to go perfect to get anywhere.
What you're describing is the conference race. It's what helps make college football interesting. It's what BYU was missing for years and years with independent. I mean, everyone says, they lost a game, their season was over. Well, their season was really over before it began.
Right.
Because there's no guarantee that they'd even have been included if they would have gone undefeated. I mean, it just was a whole nothing burger. You weren't playing to spoil anybody else's season. You weren't playing in some sort of race. It was just a grouping of 12 exhibition games.
Yeah, you had a 12-game preseason.
Was so frustrating for me to watch and cover for so many years. What you're talking about now is what makes college football great. It's a race with 4 teams. I mean, if you want to throw Colorado in there, to see who can get to the conference title game. And one interesting thing about these mega giant leagues is all these teams don't play each other.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a 1-loss team against a 0-loss team, or 2 1-loss teams, battling it out to see who gets that automatic bid. And the fact that there is an automatic bid, and I cross my fingers that it remains that way, that these other leagues have automatic ways to get there, because I do think it makes it more interesting. But mark my words, the Big Ten and the SEC are looking for ways to take away that automatic bid. But as long as there's an automatic bid, yeah, you're in the race. You're going for it. But I do think I do think it's going. 2 losses will take a team out.
Yep.
I'm thinking
I don't think a 2-loss team
at
get
this
there.
point. I'm thinking 2 losses will take a team out because I don't think that Iowa State and Kansas State are going to lose until they play each other. We'd have to go back and look at the specifics, but we both looked over their schedules, and I think
I'm looking at them right now.
like Iowa State, they've got one at Utah, but that game doesn't look as difficult as it once did.
Iowa State has the toughest schedule. Kansas State is second. BYU has by far the easiest because they don't play Kansas State or Iowa State.
Right.
They've already played Kansas
or
State.
Colorado,
and they beat them.
right?
Right. So Kansas State, easy game this weekend against Kentucky. Easy game next weekend against Houston. Arizona State, Cincinnati, both at Kansas State, both home
they should
games.
win both those easy.
Yeah, so they should be. I mean, they should easily win their next 4 games,
Yeah.
and then the culmination of their season on the road at Iowa State, which will determine, I think, whether or not they make it to the Big 12 title game. And then Iowa State is very similar, except for they play at Utah and then home against Kansas State to close the year. But those are 2 dangerous games. I don't know how good Utah is, but that's at least a dangerous game.
Yeah.
BYU is pretty much cake the rest of the way, especially if they get past Central Florida and Utah.
Yeah.
I mean, those are their 2 tough games, and they are better than both of those teams.
Well, the only way they get 2 teams into the college football playoff is if they have an undefeated team and a 1-loss team.
And then maybe that
and
one-loss
then
team wins the Big 12.
Yeah, I don't know. We'd have to go through it and see what teams, how many losses and that sort of thing, because they do pick it on win-losses. But I don't know. I think the chances of them getting 2 teams into the playoff are slim. But there's no way they get a second team with 2 losses in. So Big 12 fans are rooting for the Cougs and the Cyclones to go undefeated the rest of the way.
Yep. I mean, and they're right on the edge. As you said, they're probably underrated, underranked. Iowa State is undefeated and is 10th. BYU is undefeated in their 11th, right? So they're already, and this is not the college football playoff, I recognize that, but they're already a little bit underranked to the point where 1 loss will drop you outside of the top 12. I mean, that is what is being set up for the Big 12 here, why they have to be careful,
but
why one team, to your argument, might not make the Big 12.
But talking about BYU in a
or the playoff,
conference race is so great. You remember back to the Mountain West Conference races? They were super fun. That was a 3-team league, but the race for the title was super interesting and super fun. And so if, Utah is looking for any meaning left in this season, they can go out there and play spoiler for 2 out of 3 teams that we just talked about.
Yep.
And even that is something fun to root for if you're Independence was just there's just nothing to root for.
Oh, if BYU loses this weekend, there is so much pressure to win at Utah because we just mentioned 2 losses, you're out of the Big 12 title, and you can lose to Utah. You can lose any rivalry game.
And you know what? The losses, as far as fandom goes, in my opinion, the brutal losses are as great as the great wins.
Oh, way worse. Way worse.
The losses in Independence, again, were like, all right. I mean, BYU lost to Liberty in Independence. Who cares? Who cares? It didn't mean anything.
But the bad losses to your rival are worse than your best wins.
Well, yeah, I'm talking specifically in the conference league. I mean, in league, the rivalry makes it mean a little bit different. But I'm talking about, like, a brutal loss. I still remember it was the anniversary
you just
of.
mean in a conference race overall.
The anniversary of when Matt Ryan beat Virginia Tech on Thursday night in the most brutal way you've ever seen. And both teams were in the top 10, and there was all the things on the line. Just a brutal loss for a fan, right? I still remember it. Like, that's part of. It's part of what makes sports great. The lows are actually great. The lows and the highs, the emotion involved in it are actually great. And that was part of the conference race. Like, the conference title was on the line, basically. And you play this crazy game. Even BYU playing crazy games, crazy tight games against the wins just didn't mean anything. Did it matter, really, that they beat Wisconsin? Not really.
No, I mean, it was fun for a weekend.
But the fly sweep game where they beat Wisconsin and after they'd gotten drubbed the year, but it was just,
wins at Tennessee. Cool.
But who cares? I remember more.
Well, I mean, to your point, what game do you remember most from the 2020 season? Coastal Carolina.
The loss.
Yeah.
That's kind of funny.
The game that matters. And essentially, BYU was in a conference race because they were undefeated at that point and maybe had a chance to go somewhere fun.
As far as I'm concerned, every win right now is more memorable for BYU than any of the wins during Independence.
Yes.
And you can throw marquee programs names at me that they beat. And Texas and all this, and it just didn't mean anything. That win over a mediocre Oklahoma State team last week, Ben, meant a ton.
Yeah, that huge win over Kansas State is way more. Is the most important BYU's
absolutely
win BYU has had. Truthfully, probably in 12 years, if you wanted to say beating Utah a few years ago,
No, because it
more
didn't
they
mean
had
anything.
to snap the record or to snap the losing streak, I would listen to that. But yeah, it didn't mean anything. And Utah still went to the Rose Bowl. Like, who cares? Utah didn't care that year. I mean, I'm sure they didn't want to lose that game, but they bounced back and were fine and had a great season.
Look at that season when BYU beat Utah. It didn't mean anything for Utah either.
Exactly. Yeah, it didn't mean anything.
Didn't mean anything.
So
the game 3 weeks from now, 3 weeks, I guess 2 and change from now between those two teams is going to mean a crazy amount. And Utah's not even in the race.
We didn't get to talk to Mitch Harper today. He's gallivanting in Central Florida right now as he gets ready for the game.
He's on the Dumbo ride.
But he was
fistful of cotton candy.
He gave a turkey leg in one hand. He gave us a big breakdown yesterday. We have our digital meeting every Thursday about there's a chance this game gets played at 10 a.m. because of how the picking games goes for national TV providers. ESPN, if they choose an SEC game for their like kind of high-profile game 2 weeks from now when Utah and BYU are playing, Big Noon Fox is going to have their choice, and they can either put them on 5 o'clock or 10 o'clock when Fox likes to play their big game. There's a chance we get the rivalry game at a 10 a.m. kickoff.
I hope so.
That would be crazy.
That'd be rad.
I don't remember that in my lifetime. I'm sure it's happened, but I don't remember a lot of early games.
The tailgaters might be a little bent.
Well, you start Friday night.
Going all-nighter.
Degenerates up at the U?
All-nighter. Camp it out. Make it happen.
No, that's great, yeah. Have a big night. Have a big party Friday night, and, yeah, get ready for the game Saturday morning. So we'll see. I'm curious when that kick time is going to be. I don't think that throws a huge wrinkle into it. It'd be a bigger deal if one
5
of these
o'clock
teams was
would be
truly
cool.
on the road. Oh, I mean, I hope it's on Big Fox. Yeah, I hope it is one of these huge games.
I'm totally fine with 5 o'clock. I mean, I feel like I lead the complaint about start times grousing on a weekly basis. 5's fine.
It's better than 8:30.
6 is okay.
We've got good kick times this weekend.
Yeah, it's nice.
What do we have, a 1:30 and a 5:30?
Yep.
Life's good, man.
Yeah, not bad.
Is it 5:30 or is it 5?
Hold on.
1:30 and 5 on the other two.
1:30 and 5.
Yep.
On both of the other two.
And BYU and UCF are on ESPN, and then
correct.
Utah and
ESPN
Houston
Plus,
are
brother.
ESPN Plus.
ESPN Plus.
We signed up for ESPN Plus.
With the dregs.
And then you got
on
Utah
ESPN
State
Plus.
on CBS Sports Network.
But I've been getting some run on my my Hulu and my Disney Plus, so I guess that combo, signing up for it to begin the year, was okay.
It was all right for you?
It was all right. It's
working
paid
out
off.
okay?
Yeah.
All right. Live from Doug Smith Kia here in Linden. Come by and see us. JJ and Alex will be down here this afternoon as well as Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
It's game week for the Utes, and the Zone is getting you ready for kickoff. Kyle Whittingham and the Utes will try to snap their 3-game losing skid and get the season back on track with a road battle against Houston. Listen all week long for the best coverage of Ute football. Then catch the Ute pregame show this Saturday at 4 with a postgame show immediately following the game. Your home for the best coverage of Utah football is live on air, online, and on the KSL Sports app. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Jake Scott, Ben Anderson, wrapping up things from Doug Smith Kia, the brand new location right here in Linden. Been very nice to hang out and get to know everybody out here. They are fantastic, and this is a beautiful facility. So come check it out for yourself. This segment is brought to you by Peach Doors and Windows. Amazing home transformations begin with Peach, where 5-star reviews are the norm. Call them today for your free in-home estimate, 801-566-1255. Peach Doors and Windows. Ben, it's going to be a busy weekend.
Lots of sports.
Football, basketball, hockey.
Is RSL playing? When's RSL play next? Hatch, you would know.
They play next Tuesday, the first of a
Next
3-round series in the first round of the MLS Cup playoffs.
So they get a little rest time.
Taking on
before the
Minnesota.
postseason.
This is the bananas kind of type of year. You know,
Oh, the World
time
Series
of
starts
year.
tonight.
The sports equinox, as they call it. Yep.
Oh, man. I know what I'm not going to be doing, watching the World Series.
Which is funny because this has an argument to be the best World Series of our lifetime.
Yeah, come on, Jake. Dodgers,
Oh.
Yankees, let's go.
My two least favorite teams? I don't want to watch it. I'm not watching it.
I
No
love how
thanks.
you-
Pass.
The two best players in baseball, Shohei and Judge, are going head-to-head. I mean, this is exactly what baseball has been craving and
Correct.
needing.
Yes.
They need this so badly, and they are finally getting it. Major cities, superstars, worldwide superstars, and probably the two most famed teams in baseball history. It's pretty cool that we are actually getting to see this.
Don't care. Not watching.
Yeah.
It'd be like if the Lakers played the Knicks.
Celtics, yeah.
Oh, I like the Knicks way less than I like the Celtics.
I was trying to think about this, though. Like, I remember, obviously, some of those star-studded Yankees teams in the early 2000s that were winning back-to-back titles. I don't remember their opponents being that star-studded. And I'm probably just forgetting some of them. But, like, the amount... Mookie Betts has an argument to be the best player in baseball. Shohei is probably the best player in baseball, and none of them won MVP because Aaron Judge did. Because Aaron Judge is unreal and has had back-to-back record-setting years. And
well, Shohei will win the MVP.
You think he's going to win it this year?
Shohei? The NL MVP? Yes.
Oh, NL, yes.
Aaron Judge will win the AL
yeah,
MVP.
Yes, you're right.
But, yes, Shohei will win the NL MVP.
Really better.
I wish all those stars were playing for different teams. What do you want? What do you want from me?
Yeah, that's fine. But this is all the best talent you can have, minus maybe Mike Trout on the field in baseball right now. These are the names.
Not that anymore.
Not what he once was, certainly.
No.
But a name. But baseball's got its big names playing in the biggest games. It's exciting.
I wonder how much dough Shohei's got on it. No? I can't believe.
Apparently, it's his translator.
I can't believe that he got through all that unscathed. It just goes to show you when they don't want to have a scandal, they don't have a scandal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, it was all that guy. All right.
Yeah.
But anyway, so you're going to be rooting for which team?
My brother's a Yankees fan, so I'll go with that.
You're going with the Yanks?
Yeah, I'd love to see the Yankees win. For him.
Said nobody ever.
Me.
What do you mean for him? For him, I hate that whole notion. Like, I feel good for you that your team won.
No, you hate people. You hate people you like being happy.
Your brother didn't do anything. Why are you happy for your brother?
He invested a lot of time and emotion rooting for the Yankees. And so he will get a payoff that you don't get very often in life. Yeah, he didn't do anything. You're right. He has reached base 0 times.
And how many
year.
World Series have the Yankees won? I mean, no.
27 or something like that.
It's like you're rooting for him to pay his taxes every year. Like, it's not like a new thing. But, yeah, I'm not happy for people when their team wins. Why would I be? I'm happy for people when they get a promotion at work.
Okay. They didn't do anything. A lot of times it's just they've been there long enough.
I'm happy for our guy Thomas when he sells a Kia.
I know a lot of people who've gotten promoted for jobs that they should get promoted for. Not less happy for people who get promotions.
Are you happy for teams that set records for losing, though, Jake? Like our good friend Ben's
How many
Chicago
Jazz
White Sox?
fans would trade a promotion at work for a Jazz title?
I hope none.
I hope all of them.
I hope
bet
zero.
all of them.
Ah, we've got one right here. I would hope nobody.
A lot of people would say, put off the $400 bonus that I got for moving to, assistant VP or whatever for a Jazz title. Lots of Jazz fans would. So I'm happy for them.
Real fans not.
Sacrifice work promotions for championships. That's all I'm going to say.
Ben, when the hangover wears off from the celebration, life still goes on.
No,
it's not, you didn't really.
You can always say you were there for the title. No one celebrates you getting a promotion. Maybe 3 people at work buy you a little tiny cookie and put it on your table and say, congratulations, you have a harder job now.
But you understand that is tangible.
So is winning a championship.
It is not.
It is. You can say you were at the game. You can hold on to it forever. You have memories.
None of that is tangible.
You can have memories.
Do we need to look into what the word tangible means?
You don't think memories are tangible?
I don't. I think by definition
they
are not.
A promotion isn't tangible either. How is a promotion tangible?
Money is tangible.
Oh,
a better situation
comes with a promotion. Sometimes
better situation in life.
You and I have seen people get promoted into jobs that were bad for them. You shouldn't have gotten that promotion. That was bad for you. You were happier before your promotion.
You just told me memories are tangible. You lost all credibility.
Memories are something you can hold on to forever.
Not
Promotions
tangible.
Come and go.
That hold on to,
Promotions come
that's
and go.
Figurative.
Championships hang forever. No one's ever hung a promotion banner in their house. But you hang a championship
I had
banner.
no idea we were ending the Friday
on the
show on this, of all things.
Well, Ben's rarely been more wrong about something he's talking about.
I'm rooting for the underdog Yankees.
He just said memories were tangible. That is quite literally not true.
Go Yankees.
And you know what? I might root for the Dodgers just to root against your brother. How does that make you feel?
Do it. I hope your day's ruined.
I almost said go Dodgers, but I just can't. You don't want to be happy. You're not happy for Dodger fans.
No. I hope they lose so my brother's happier.
All right. Big thanks to the folks here at Doug Smith Kia. Really excited about their new facility. We appreciate them including the station in their grand opening. Drop on by, see what they're all about. 499 Linden Park here in Linden, just east of the freeway. Ben, we talked to a bunch of people from the service department. Doug Smith Kia about way more than just selling cars. Of course, they'd be happy to sell you a wonderful new Kia, but they do so much more.
Service your vehicles, whatever you're looking for.
Yeah, they're awesome.
That's tangible.
That is something tangible. Yes. Good. Oh, good.
I just Googled what tangible means.
Oh, good. All right, stay tuned. Hanson, Scotty G are coming up next.
Thanks, Hatch.
97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.